I couldn't think anymore. Hands everywhere, exploring, gripping, guiding me exactly where they wanted. I was surrounded. My body caught between them. My senses overloaded, taken piece by piece. There was no pause, no escape from the intensity they moved in. Sin leaving me with nothing but heat pleasure, and the sound of deep voices murmuring their approval. "Look at her," one of them said, his voice thick with satisfaction, completely lost in it. And I had never felt anything like this, and I didn't want it to stop before we begin. "Let me ask you something. How far do you think this will go? Stay until the end, and I promise it's worth it. And if you like stories like this, hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's next. Let's dive music in you drinking alone tonight." The voice was smooth deep, a man who didn't second guesses himself. I turned slightly, finding him already beside me, close enough that I could catch the faint scent of whiskey and expensive cologne. Older, confident, well-dressed, a little gray at his temples, a sharp jawline and that kind of presence that made it clear he got what he wanted. I had noticed him the second I walked in, and I had been waiting for him to do exactly this. I glanced at him over my glass. Not anymore, I guess. He smirked like he appreciated the way I played along. "That's a shame," he said, nodding toward my empty glass. "Because I was about to buy you another." I shrugged, tilting my head. "You still can, but I should warn you I don't usually stick around long." His eyes darkened, amused. "Neither do I." We both knew where this was heading. No games, no small talk, just two people looking for the same thing. I leaned in slightly, just enough for my dress to shift for him to notice your place. He finished his drink in one smooth motion and set the glass down with a quiet clink. "Let's go." I grabbed my purse, feeling his hand pressed lightly against the small of my back as he guided me toward the door. The night was still young, and I had a feeling it was about to get a whole lot more interesting. We arrived at his place shortly after the door had barely clicked shut before his hands found me strong, certain. No hesitation, just claiming exactly how I wanted it. His mouth crashed into mine as he backed me toward the bedroom, fingers working my dress down my shoulders, letting it slip to the floor. His jacket followed his belt, his shirt clothes disappearing between frantic kisses, leaving nothing between us. By the time we reached the bed, I was breathless. My skin flushed my body, already aching for him. But before I could even think, he was on his knees. A deep hum rumbled from his throat as his hands gripped my thighs, parting them effortlessly. "I've been wanting to feel you on my lips since the second you walked over." Then he did. I gasped, my fingers gripping the sheets as warmth flooded through me. Slow at first teasing, making sure I felt every flick of his tongue, every soft scrape of stubble against my skin. I had expected him to be good, but not this good. His grip tightened, drawing me in, keeping me close, making me lose myself as I trembled beneath him. And just when I thought I couldn't take anymore, he pulled back lips, wet eyes, dark hungry. "Turn around." The command was quiet, firm, a man used to being obeyed. I did as he said, barely catching my breath before his hands found my hips and pulled me toward him. No waiting, no hesitation, just a deep, steady push, filling me completely. I gasped, my hands gripping the sheets as he held me still, letting me feel him adjust to him. "That's it," he murmured, running a hand down my back. Possessive, steady, like he had all night. And then he moved. The rhythm was deep, steady, consuming his grip. Firm, his body pressing into mine with slow, deliberate intensity that sent sharp waves of pleasure through me. My breath hitched, my nails digging into the sheets, the heat coiling tight in my stomach. Higher, higher, until suddenly release. My body shuddered beneath him, heat surging through me, leaving me trembling. His grip tightened. His pace grew deeper, more urgent. And with one last deep push, he followed his body tensing against mine before seeing completely for a moment. Nothing but heavy breaths, damp skin, the lingering pulse of satisfaction. Then a deep exhale, a slow smirk. "Damn," he murmured, his fingers tracing lazily down my spine. I swallowed still, catching my breath, still reeling from what had just happened. I'd thought older men were slower, gentler, more restrained. I was very, very wrong, and I had no idea that this night was just the beginning. I stretched my body, still warm and heavy from last night. The morning light crept through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the room. I glanced at the man beside me, still steady, completely at ease. I hadn't planned on staying the night, but here I was, slipping out of bed. Grabbed my dress and stepped into it, smoothing out the fabric as I glanced around for my heels. No reason to linger. It had been a good night. A great night, actually, but that's all it was. One night. I made my way toward the door, but the rich scent of fresh coffee stopped me turning. I found him already in the kitchen, 2 mugs sitting beside him, awake, watching me. You were going to sneak out without saying goodbye. His voice was slow, easy. The same confidence from last night, curling around each word. I smirked, shrugging. Figured you'd still be sleeping. Besides, I didn't think you were the type to do morning after coffee. I'm full of surprises. He slid one of the mugs toward me. I hesitated, then stepped forward and took it. Why not for a moment? We just stood there, sipping the silence between us. Thick, not awkward, just charged. Then he leaned casually against the counter. I've got some friends coming over tonight. Just a few of my old buddies having a drink, playing some cards. You should stay. I raised a brow, feeling the weight of his gaze. Oh, I set my coffee down, tilting my head slightly. And what kind of night are you expecting this to be? His smirk deepened slow, knowing a good one. I let out a soft laugh, shaking my head. Are they as good as you? Why don't you stay and find out I knew what he was really offering? And I already knew my answer last night was better than I expected. What would it be like to experience that? ×5. Slowly, I picked up my coffee again and took another sip. Guess I'm staying a little longer. His eyes darkened with approval. Good choice. By late afternoon, I was restless. The air in the apartment felt thick, charged. I stretched on the couch, stealing a glance at the clock. Not much longer now, the anticipation curled deep in my stomach. Slow and steady mind. If I take a shower, I asked. Though we both knew this wasn't just about hot water, he smirked, swirling the amber liquid in his glass. Be my guest. I slipped into the bathroom, shutting the door behind me. The moment the water turned on, steam wrapped around me, warm, heavy. I stepped under the spray. Exhaling slowly last night was still on my skin. The heat, the ache, the way he had moved against me. But tonight would be something else. My fingers trailed down my stomach along the curve of my thighs. How would they see me? The thought sent a slow shiver through me. A smirk tugged at my lips as I reached for the soap, gliding it over my skin, letting the warmth settle deep. I should have been nervous. I wasn't. By the time I stepped out, my body was flushed ready. I grabbed a towel, drying off quickly before slipping into his robe. The fabric soft, oversized, carrying the faint scent of his cologne. Then I heard it voices low more than one. I froze for half a second. They were already here. I exhaled slowly, no turning back. Now I smirked, adjusted the robe loosely around my waist, and stepped out the moment I stepped into the living room. The air shifted. The low hum of conversation faded, replaced by something heavier. Expectation. I felt it in their gazes, in the way their eyes roamed over me. Assessing waiting. I didn't hesitate. Didn't need to. I walked straight to the man from last night, settling beside him on the couch. His hand found my thigh, instantly warm, firm, possessive, but assured. He smirked, fingers grazing the hem of my robe, teasing before he pulled me in, capturing my lips in a slow, deep kiss. There was no rush, no urgency, just confidence. He wanted me to feel it, to feel them watching, waiting. Then they moved, a shift in posture, a rustle of fabric, the quiet click of a belt being unfastened. I pulled back slightly, glancing up. One of them, tall, broad-standing, close enough to touch, watched me with quiet expectation, his hand resting on himself, fingers moving in slow, lazy strokes. Go on, the man beside me, murmured, his fingers still tracing the edge of my robe. Let's get started. A pulse of heat ran through me. I leaned forward. The first brush of my lips sent a shiver through him. I took my time teasing, exploring, letting him feel the slow, deliberate pace. His breath hitched a deep, approving sound, escaping as his fingers tangled in my hair, guiding, not forcing, then another hand. A thumb traced my bottom lip, coaxing it open before something warm and firm pressed against it, waiting to be taken one by one. They joined a gentle touch on my cheek, a hand cupping the back of my head, guiding me smoothly from one onto the next. I was surrounded, exploring hands, roaming touches, the scent of them, the feel of them. I was caught in it, immersed. They were patient, letting me move between them at my own pace, letting me feel the contrast in shape, size. Heat hands smoothed over my shoulders, tilting my chin, keeping me exactly where they wanted. I let myself sink into it. The rhythm, the sensation, the sounds of deep murmurs and quiet groans of men fully indulging in the PLE. Azure of being satisfied. Then a shift. Someone took my hand, pulling me up, guiding me toward the couch. Come here. One of them had taken a seat, watching me expectantly, legs spread, waiting. I followed instinctively, climbing into his lap, straddling him, feeling the solid press of his body beneath me. His hands found my waist steady and unyielding as he guided me down slowly. Deliberately, my breath caught a small gasp escaping. As I settled fully onto him, a deep sound rumbled in his chest, his fingers flexing against my hips, as he adjusted, urging me to move. That's it, he murmured, voice rough with approval. I rolled against him, found a rhythm, let myself sink into the slow, consuming sensation of being taken. But I wasn't just his exploring hands' roaming touches, palming, kneading, tracing the curves of my body, rolling over sensitive skin, teasing, igniting every nerve. A hand on my jaw, tilting my head up, lips crashing into mine, stealing the small moans slipping past. I was held touched, explored completely, giving into them. And then another shift, a new grip on my waist, a presence behind me. Breathe, a voice murmured against my ear. I barely had a moment to prepare before he settled behind me, positioning himself carefully. A sharp inhale overwhelmed, adjusting, stretching to take them both completely enveloped. Their hands steadied me, one at my hips, the other gripping my waist, moving in tandem perfectly in syn, drawing me deeper into the sensation. A deep moan escaped me, my fingers digging into the chest beneath me as pleasure overwhelmed, consumed, wrecked me. Look at her, one of them murmured, voice thick with approval, embracing every moment. And I was time blurred, a haze of movement, of shifting hands, of quiet murmurs, and deep groans. I was guided from one to the next, taken apart piece by piece, made to feel every second of it. There was no rush. They took their time switching places, making sure I felt them fully before moving on. By the time the last hands released me, I was drained, trembling, and completely overwhelmed. My body was still humming, my breath uneven, then soft, chuckles, low murmurs of approval. The man from last night crouched beside me, tilting my chin up, brushing a damp strand of hair from my face. Didn't think you'd last, he murmured, smirking. Neither had I. And I had a feeling this wouldn't be the last time some men dream of a night like this, but only a few could actually handle it. Be honest, do you think you could keep up with a woman like her? Let me know in the comments. I always read them. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed the story and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next